This time, I'd like to give each panelist about a minute or so to go ahead and introduce themselves and tell them a little bit about each other. Master?
Hi, good morning. My name is Alex. I'm a feng shui master. I do feng shui for more than 10 years. I teach. I want to share all those knowledge. And feng shui is all about you. So at the panel, I will discuss more. Thank you.
Hands-on service. We specialize in hoarder house clean out and clutter removal. My name is Ruben.
Well, good morning and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Today I will be sharing a quite important topic that has been a lot of confusion about is reverse mortgages. My name is Mario Manzanilla from Rate 1 Financial.
Good morning, I'm Leticia Pomez. I own an agency of Allstate Insurance in Temple City for over 34 years. So I provide insurance for all kinds. So just come up to me, ask me questions, be glad to help you. I have a full team of customer service and sales.
Morning, I'm Julio Bravo with Lauren Ash Designs. I own and operate a home staging company here, focused primarily in San Gabriel Valley. We provide solutions for both vacant and occupied estate homes for listings, and have a full-service team that can travel out to pretty much any destination outside of San Gabriel Valley too, if you do have a listing need outside those areas, all the way up to, I think we've gone as far as Cambria and as far as south as San Juan Capistrano. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring that back to this. Let's start off the questioning with Mario. Mario, will the government take my home if I obtain a reverse mortgage?
That is a good question and a very common myth. For some reason, and I'm not really sure why, people think that the government, after they die or when the loan is due, they're going to take their home away. The truth is not. It never happens. A reverse mortgage is really a regular loan, and it's due when both of the people die, when they sell, or when they move away. They're not going to come back. They go to a convalescent home for a long period of time. That's it. There is no, they're going to take away my equity, or no. That belongs to you, so, or to your clients. So that is a myth, and it's going on. I'm not really sure why. And the only thing that I can think of is because people are responsible for paying their taxes, property taxes, and if they don't, guess what? Who will take it away? The state. All right, so that's my answer, no.
Thank you, Mario. Master Alex, what is feng shui?
I think it's a good question, right? Actually, feng shui is a really complicated, but we can put it in two ways. The first thing is for the property, is for commercial and residential. Do you know that for your house, when we want to do some feng shui setting, we'll use this traditional Chinese compass to get all those readings. And for the residential feng shui, it's like a balance. It's a balance of life, health, good marriage, money luck, good relationship. Your children can study well. Your husband, your wife will on the right track. Everything is in a balance. But for commercial, it's more focused on money, how to make the boss make the money. And we still have the personal function. For personal, we'll use your palms reading, face reading, your date of birth to understand about you. And there's some new concept we call it the cell phone function. Before we want to know something about you, we need to read your face. But right now, just your cell phone number, we know something about you. So maybe after that, you guys want, you can give your friends or relative customer number. By the number, we know about their luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Master. Ruben, what is hoarding?
Hoarding is a hoarder house is an excess of collections of items. A hoarder, a person, is someone who is having difficulties in discharging their items when no longer needed.
Short and sweet. Thank you. Leticia, what are some kinds of insurance realtors need?
Well, as you know, Realtors are entrepreneurs, they're independent contractors, they're self-employed. Benefits are not really easily available unless you have someone that does put you on a program. But I think the main thing that you should focus on is, since you're driving around a lot, whether you're showing a house, you're getting a listing, you're going to the office, there's a lot involved with driving. I think you should not stay with the lowest minimum state liability limits. You should always protect your family, protect yourself by having higher limits of liability on your car insurance. Also, uninsured motorists is very important. There's a lot of people out there, or underinsured motorists, with very low limits or no insurance at all, and then you will be stuck with a big medical bill. So for yourself and for your family, I think you should have higher limits. The other thing that I think is really important is, because you are business owners, and maybe you don't consider yourself that, but you should have your own business owner's policy made specific for realtors. It includes general liability and also your business personal property. You think, oh, well, I have E&O. I'm not talking E&O. I'm talking general liability. I'm not talking about your brokerage master policy. It's an additional one that you should have as an individual realtor. And I could cite examples. You could be taking somebody to an open house and there's a slippery floor and somebody falls. The buyer it slips on that nice shiny new floor. Well, who's going to cover that? There might be some defense you might need, and you can get that under this kind of policy. Also, I wanted to mention, what if your buyer goes into an open house and breaks an antique vase that belongs to the seller? Oops. Was that going to come out of your own pocket, or are you going to have an insurance company help you out with extra things? And it comes with all kinds of other things in the package. Come up to me and I'll explain a lot more.
Thank you, Leticia.
Yes.
Julio, is staging just for vacant house?
Sorry, clearly no. Staging is really, in itself, it's just to help create a better look or better aesthetic for a home. So one of the things that we try to do with staging in regards to that is we're trying to help out with things such as deferred maintenance. The other common problem we come across is you have a client and they have their home and it's full of their own possessions, but they don't want to listen to the agent or believe them that they need to declutter their home or remove personal effects that would make the house more inviting to a potential buyer. So for occupied stage, we actually find that there's quite a bit of benefit for agents because they can have another person come, another professional come in and direct them on what they need to do to help prepare their house and get it ultimately ready for the market and appeal to as many buyers as we possibly can. Not to mention, it helps soften outdated looks as well. So if the house is just long times to remodel, or some of the furnishings in the house are very dated, by just providing some newer, fresher items, try to create a fresher look in the house, you can really kind of get the prospective buyer eye kind of drift away from that and see the potential of the home versus being caught up on what's wrong with the house. So again, the answer for vacant stage, for home staging, is if it's occupied, it's just as good. We love vacants, but we can do occupieds too.
Thank you, Julio. Mario, how and who benefits from a reverse mortgage?
That's a pretty in-depth 2 questions, but I will share some statistic with you very quickly. 11,000 people per day. They're turning 62 years older for the next 16 years. 25 million will rely on Social Security. 90% of them, that will be their income. Millions will be unable to meet their financial needs. This is what's happening, folks. I don't know if you have realized that it might be you already in that situation. So it is an upcoming thing. I see it more and more, quite frankly, and my colleagues can probably testify that they are seeing this more requests on reverse mortgages. So one, because a lot of them are retiring with mortgages. Mortgages were never intended for people in retirement. Why is a 74, 80-year-old person with a mortgage? Please. Second, income, in most cases, income goes down while expenses increases while they're in retirement. Isn't that what's happening? No one can retire safely with a mortgage. So it is a financial planning tool. So who benefits and what are the benefits? Very simple. You can buy a home with a reverse mortgage. The main thing is eliminate mortgage payments. That's the main thing that I hear. You don't have a mortgage payments, what can you do with a $2,000, $1,500 a month, $24,000 a year for the next 20 years? Figure that out yourself or for your clients. That's your money, not the bank's money. Enjoy it. Put the golden years, put the gold back into the golden years. Isn't that what life is all about? Right? So stretch retirement savings, that's another benefit. You can stretch it. Delay taking Social Security for greater benefit. And lastly, lifelong growing safety net. That's really the main objective of the reverse mortgage. You know, so it's not just, it's a retirement tool, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. So just keep that in mind. I will be doing a presentation tomorrow in depth for this.
Thank you, Mario. Master Alex, how can feng shui be a benefit to us?
Oh, yeah, it's a really, really good question. Okay, for Wilton, I think the most important is how can you use feng shui to help your business. In our class, we talk about lots of, like for your open house, how to do some simple feng shui setting to help you sell your house faster, and how to help you sell the house in high value. We can feng shui your open house, and I will teach you how to do that simple, and after you do it, you feel the difference. And we also can use feng shui for farming to get more potential customer. And we can also use feng shui to help us to form our good luck feng shui team. And of course, feng shui can help you, like can feng shui your house, feng shui your office, or get a good luck cell phone number to help you. But for Wilton, if you want, we will have a class from time to time in this association. Or if you want, you can invite me to your company, and then we'll have a tailor-made class to talk about how to do the feng shui, your open house, to help you have a more business. And for affiliate, we have also a different class for insurance, for other business. We can also use feng shui to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Master. Ruben, what causes hoarding?
There is no real clear cause as to becoming a hoarder, but 85% of hoarders have a family member who is a hoarder. What may cause someone to become a hoarder? Dramatic incidents like brain damage, strokes, major surgery, injuries. They say this is the main cause of hoarding.
Thank you. Leticia, what are important needs in a financial planning for a realtor?
I think organization is the key to success in planning your financial future as a realtor. It's not good to save your money under a mattress, things like that. Go to a professional, ask for guidance, talk to your CPA for tax advantages that you can use their tax deferred vehicles for maybe retirement planning. Talk to an attorney who does living trust, organize your living trust. Don't go to a criminal attorney or a divorce attorney, go to an estate attorney. They know what they're doing, they know all the rules, and don't just do it, leave it alone. Review it every once in a while. Just like a life insurance, you don't want to have the same beneficiary maybe that you had way back in the day. For all you know, you had everything either in the living trust or in your life insurance maybe to your mother, and now she's 90 years old. And you never looked at that again. So you need to update your things, your paperwork, keep things in order, and I think that's the key. Another important thing is I think everybody should have a life insurance to fund your living trust, because it isn't just organizing it, it's also funding it. So.
Thank you, Leticia. Julio, how do you make a tired home look well maintained?
So thank you. Going back to the first question, it kind of plays off the other situation where, number one, I kind of blame what you see on, what people are seeing now on cable TV shows, which is, there's kind of unrealistic expectations. A buyer comes in, typically wants to see the house in move-in ready condition. So one of the ways you can do that or achieve that is, number one, you want to have well-placed furnishings in the house. Again, it goes back to decluttering, but if everything's well-placed, the buyer tends to drift away and not notice as much as the deferred maintenance. They may see the house as maybe older in style, but not so much as tired or as run down. Also, furnishings can help kind of disguise certain areas. Maybe the paint's not in great shape, or there's a carpet stain. I mean, we could do you could do area rugs, different things to kind of get that person biased. At least you get the house into a purchase contract. But one of the main things also that you want to focus on a home is making sure that the color scheme that's in there is also neutral. So implementing a neutral color scheme will kind of help bring that house back as well. And again, you can't remodel an entire house for every single client, but ideally, if it's a decluttered, color scheme is very neutral and the items are well placed, buyers just won't notice it as much as if the house is still left with original furnishings or badly placed items. We had a recent where there was a massive massage chair in the middle of the den, and that was the focal point of the whole room. And that's all people saw. So by removing that chair and just putting things in a more normal, traditional configuration of that room, it made the house feel better and more updated, which made it seem as if it was livable, kind of comfortable for someone to be there. But it's really just about organization of space and again, new color schemes, well-placed furnishings and items will really go a long way to kind of disguise some of those things that are well maintained in the house at that point.
Thank you. Mario, what is a non-recourse reverse mortgage?
I thought I was becoming a hoarder until I realized you mentioned about brain damage. I changed my mind. So anyway, going back to the topic of non-recourse here. Non-recourse means this. In the event that the market crashes and you owe more than your home is worth, if you have a regular loan, what happens? Most likely you have a deficiency mortgage, 1099, and you may end up in court. If you have a reverse mortgage and that happens, non-recourse means nothing's going to happen to you or your family. Just basically, they take the loss. That's why the mortgage insurance premium on the reverse mortgage is expensive, because of the risk of that if it ever happens. Do you guys understand what's happening? There is no deficiency mortgage. That's it. That's a non-recourse loan. That is part of the reverse mortgage protection there for the seniors.
Thank you, Mark. Master Alex, any feng shui tips for us?
Yeah, definitely. Imagine for your in your office or your home office or your bed, you need to imagine like something like this chair. This chair is okay. When we sit here, make sure we have the support. So it's so important. So in the office chair, you have the support, and over there, you make sure it is this wall. It's not a window or not those funny things. So we need to have a good support. And beside you, the left side, because the left dragon, the right side is a white tiger. Make sure you have the support, left dragon and white tiger. Like me, I sit here, I have a Richard here, I have a Ruben here. It's a really, really good support for me. This is really good.
Dragon.
Yeah, in your office, you can also do that. So the two sits next to you must be your good friend or something can help you out. It can't be your enemy. Snake on you, hey, what are you doing? It can't be that way, okay? And in front of you is the best one is have this we call a nice area so we can all sit here. It's so important. Shh. And the second thing is make sure on top of you is not the bulky fence, the beam or something that gives you passion. And the next thing is we have to make sure what's on top of you and what is below your seat. On top of you, if this is a bathroom, there will be a problem. Can you imagine? You sit here, do your job, get your business, all the number one, number two. So you don't have good business. Okay, below, for downstairs, if this is a kitchen, a stove burning you all the way, yeah, it's not good for your heart, your circulation. And then the next thing is be careful for mirror. When we use mirror, we have to be really, really careful because mirror is really common and really popular here, and we don't want to have some effect to you. And in your office, we don't want to have too many doors. One door is good enough. More than one is too much. The money will go away. So maybe you have to lock one of the door. You can ask me, I will help you out. And then the next thing is so important. We can use color. The color is so important. Some people like the red, some people like the blue, some people like the white. So it just depends on your date of birth, and we can calculate. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Master. Ruben, what is considered an unsafe hoarding home?
A hoarder house is considered unsafe when you have excess garbage, insects, and rodents. This could be in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the garage. No safe walkways. You have to have excess that the police department or the fire department can come in and take care of whatever they have to do. Thank you.
Again, short and sweet. Thank you, Ruben. Letitia, what is best practice regarding insurance in a close of escrow situation?
Okay, the customer is trusting you, right? You just sold them a house. It's in escrow. Are you gonna tell them get the cheapest, lowest priced insurance? They're trusting you, remember? This might be a rental property, some investment property. There might be some liability involved. So the best practice I recommend is you tell them, you know what, compare, talk to your agent for the insurance, try to get the best package you can that includes liability. Okay? I hear way too often, oh, my realtor told me to just get the fire policy with their plan and then switch it over later. Do they do it later? They may not. So I think your guidance should always be for the best interest of the customer. Okay? Also, don't explain, unless you have an insurance license, don't explain coverages. Send them back to that insurance agent that can go over everything thoroughly and answer their questions, and you don't throw yourself into an E&O situation.
Thank you, Letitia. Julio, are there any unseen benefits to staging?
It's a really loaded question. There's quite a bit. First of all, digital marketing at this point is more important than ever for realtors. At this conversation after conversation, agents kind of openly admit that they're not the primary source for a client to come in and ask for a list of houses I'm going to buy. Buyers are now on Redfin, they're on Zillow, they're on whatever website they find where they're kind of scouring the net themselves. So in some senses, what's happened is the realtors kind of been cast aside since, say, maybe 20 years ago, where a buyer would have gone to their agent and said, I want to have, I'm looking to buy, I'm qualified, and they're heading out to the market to show them, they're vetting out houses on Wednesday, Thursday to show them for that weekend. Now it's different. Now buyers are online, they're searching for the homes themselves, deciding which properties they like, almost dictating some of the direction to the builder themselves. So a few things to consider when a house is staged or if it's furnished. One is it gets the listing noticed. One of the things we also track too is I personally don't have an MLS license, but if we want to see how a house is tracking or how they're trending, we look at what's available for us for social media. So something like Redfin, which is kind of the scourge of realtors, we can look at and see how many people are actually liking the property or clicking loving the property. And there is a quantitative difference between houses that are being furnished and look appealing in photos versus those that are not. The second part of it is definitively you're going to attract more potential buyers. And the other part of it that's kind of, the other question comes up is, well, why don't I just digitally furnish the home or have the photos docked up to make it look furnished? The only problem we run across there is when a client goes in to see the house and they're there, There's a little bit of a disappointment, kind of a deflation when they get there and it's not looking as appealing or as beautiful as it did in the photos. And then they realize maybe the rooms look smaller than they thought, or there's kind of an odd configuration. So the different types of problems develop from it. But if the house is furnished well and it looks appropriate, a prospective buyer develops I want to say an emotional connection with the house. They're romanticized. We even jokingly say that, you know, a buyer will come in and kind of say, you know, I would have used this color couch, I would have put it over here, I would have done that. And typically that's a good sign that the buyer is interested or likes the home. Whether or not they're going to make an offer is another issue. But for us, the telltale sign is that, you know, that they envision themselves living in that home. So again, you know, agents are no longer the primary source, so you're trying to get your listing noticed. The other thing is if the house is not up to par, maybe it's not a recent remodel within the last couple of years, there's also a field of devaluation. Again, I blame HGTV for this. You know, buyers come in there and think, oh, well, it's not updated, I should be able to offer less for the home. Added benefit again is you're going to get more for the listing ultimately. So again, the digital staging versus actual creates buyer disappointment if you come to the house and see it. And then, you know, they want to develop, or you want to create an emotional connection to the home. And again, a well-photographed interior home with well furnishings are going to get that buyer's attention, or prospective buyer's attention.
Thank you. At this time, what I'd like to do is open it up for questions.
Mario? Yeah. Could you tell us what the fees are built into the reverse mortgage? I know to the ultimate borrower, or who's getting paid, he doesn't care, because it doesn't affect him, but his family will take the residue after the house is sold, after they're dead. And how much does it cost to get, how much money is taken off that value of that property by the mortgage company to lower the amount that the ultimate beneficiary is going to get?
Great question. By the way, I will be addressing that tomorrow, very detailed, but this is a very good question. The closing costs in our reverse mortgages are quite expensive. I do not deny that. And the reason is, remember I just mentioned about the non-recourse loans. There's a lot of these little things that protect the owners of the home to stay in their home until they die. So the closing costs are just like on a refinance. They are included, they take that out of the proceeds from the loan, right? So the $300,000, typically what I see, and by the way, one more key thing on reverse mortgages, the older you are, the more you get. You guys get that as, you start at 62, you're gonna get less. You start at 80, you're gonna get a lot more. So it's all defined between age and equity. So the proceeds from the closing costs come from the amount that you were gonna get. They deduct that, so it doesn't come out of pocket. But the cost, the bulk of it, probably about 2/3 of the cost is the MIP, the mortgage insurance premium, which is, most of them are FHA secured mortgage insurances.
Is the
So
rate the same as the market, or it's a little bit higher?
what
The built-in rate?
Oh, the built-in rate is quite similar all across the board. You know, it's quite similar. They're like an FHA loan, you know, and it's, you know, they depends on how sometimes the borrower wants certain things, but the rate becomes irrelevant in many instances as long as it's just within the market range and what have you.
Anybody else?
Ruben, do you clean out homes after they've been sold? Is that most of your business, or do you go in before when you're thinking about having it sold? When do you normally provide services?
Every client is different. We have a handyman and a staff that can perform repairs and deep cleaning. The client's treasures can be taken to donations, locations such as church, hospitals. We try to give back what we can save.
So,
Yes. For Mario, can you give us a little more on that deficiency
that you spoke
Oh, the non-recourse, right? Well, that's one of the benefits. What that means is something like this. Suppose that very quickly you have this home, you bought it. Remember 2008, people bought 100% finance. The house was worth $500,000. Then the market crashed and it's worth $400,000. Then they're saying, well, why am I paying at $2,500 a month when my property is worth less? And a lot of them walked out, right? So what happens in a reverse mortgage if that would be the scenario? Well, first you don't have a mortgage payment. So who cares? Guess what? Your line of credit keeps increasing on your age. It's not market dependent. So even if the market comes down, your line of credit keeps growing by your age. You see, that's one of the huge benefits. You have access to your money. So what happens after you die? I had a 103-year-old lady that their son called me. I'm worried. My mom is already banked out all of her reverse mortgage. It was not the inheritance. They were wondering about that. They were going to go after when she dies. And I said, no worries. She goes, she likes to spend her money. I wait 20 minutes. She goes, let her blow it all out. That's what life is all about. What are they going to do with that property? Nothing. They're just going to take it back. They're not going to go after you. That's it. If there is absolutely nothing, she already blew all of her money. You see? Basically, she used her equity for whatever. They try to prevent that because do you think lenders would want a property that has no value or lesser value? None. So they're going to give something to you. 99% of the cases, equity goes back to whomever you design it to be. So that's what a non-recourse. There is no deficiency at all. No legal for either the owners or their family. No legal deficiency. They don't go after them. Whether the market crashes, whether it's something or it's not market driven at all. Yes.
Mario, so is there any due tax benefit for the borrowers? That means every year they receive 1099?
No.
No 1099?
No 1099. It's just like a home equity line of credit. You don't get a 1099, right? You're using your equity unless there is one little thing. You have so many ways that you can have access to your cash or a combination of. Some people, it hasn't happened with some of the clients that I have. You can say, I want $3,000, like an annuity, $3,000 a month for the next 20 years. Okay, so the bank sends you a check. Now that becomes income. So that I would say consult with your CPA. But if you have a line of credit, I have a $350,000 line of credit, and you use $50,000, it's your money. It's just like another loan that you go and get, except you do not have a mortgage payment. Oh, by the way, you can pay it if you want to. Isn't that something? You can. If you want to. If you want to. It's optional.
Mario?
Another one?
Last question.
Does the owner or your lender take earthquake insurance? An earthquake?
You can buy earthquake insurance separate. That's actually a good thing to do and something that is highly recommended. But it is not, it's just like a regular loan. It's not or you have to have an earthquake. It is recommended, but it is, and something that you talk to, like Leticia says, can you get, and I think that would be a good option, but it's not a mandatory.
Thank you. Let's all give a round of applause to our panel. Thank you all.